Hello. Hello. I'm glad to Hello. I'm glad to present you introspective psychology. This is done in France at Jolie, and introspective psychology is something I want to tell you about, and it will be presented by myself, and we will have to develop and to explain concept for someone who doesn't know anything about psychology, anything about introspection. This is why I want to tell you and show what are we looking for. What are we looking for? We are looking for I'm sorry, I'm coming back. We are looking for satisfaction. What is satisfaction? Satisfaction is something we can explain, but first I want to show you something about that. Satisfaction is, as you see, is someone who, well, is more than happy. He's shouting. It works. It works mean that it's something coming from inside. Satisfaction is something great. It's something which doesn't belong to anything else. It's a new point of view of it's enthusiasm. It's the pleasure of being happy, and it can come from it's coming from brain. It doesn't come from our body. This is something we can say, which is very important to explain. Satisfaction is also something you can have when, by example, when you are man or woman and someone is telling you that he is in love with you, which, my God, is wonderful, and this is this is satisfaction. This is quite different from the pleasure. The pleasure is, as Epicure said to a letter to Vinicius, pleasure is the beginning and the end of the happy life. Yes, as you see, saying this way, pleasure is accidental, is not essential. It's not coming from the brain, it's coming from the body. And when you are eating something very good, when you are making sex, when it's a pleasure, and the pleasure is, yes, it's a consequences of satisfaction. So it's the beginning of the satisfaction, but it's also the end of the happy life. Why? Because we get into accidental reality and not essential. So no longer the brain is acting, but the body is taking over. And when the body is taking over, we get into a lot of small accidental little problems, I will say. And because it can be better than that, I can talk in a better way, I can use another word, I can have a better presentation than the one you are looking at. We can change so many details because we are in the accidental way. You see this picture with the guy is in blue, it could be in green, it could be in yellow. What should be, okay, what should be the best? We can't tell. For someone it will be the blue, for the other one it will be the green or the yellow, and we can't decide. So there is no, in the real world there is no best solution, except when we put the level at essential level. At the essential level, it's coming from our brain and it's immaterial, so it becomes real, and the same for everyone. When you see two pictures here, everyone understand. There is no word for that. It's just emotion coming out. I don't want to be esoterical. I don't want to say that the brain is the only thing that we have to satisfy. We have to satisfy our body as well, but they are linked together and we can't separate one from the other. But the priority is to put on the brain. So let's go on, and after looking at what we are looking for, what are we? We are excitable. We have a body. So we were talking about the brain, and now we are going to talk about the body. So you see how linked they both are. And you will say, oh my God, we are also a piece of combination of potassium, sodium and other chemical products which interact with the external world. So why? Because a spirit, a soul, is not only floating in the air. Its aura has to be concretized with the body. And this is the accidental part of what we are. We are made of a body, okay? So, but a body that we can control ourselves. So you see that psychology is a mix between the brain and the body, and we have to control our body. So we have something to do. Otherwise, there is only the external world which is running our life, and what I propose is to be integrated in the external world. And to be integrated to the external world is to be able to control and to conduct our body inside this external world. What have we? we have a lot of desire, and the desire that we have is coming from, as we have seen, this is coming from the excitation, which is linked with our body, and the excitation can be done either from the external world, either from internal brain, because the imagination is able to reproduce the excitation of what we have seen. I can figure a car, and if I want a nice big car, then I can figure it inside and through my imagination, and get excitable and excitation in my body. If I see something very nice and good dishes, I may just think about a nice cup of tea with bread or fruits, and for the morning and for my breakfast, and I feel at once that inside my mouth there is some activation of what is needed to start eating. Okay, and this excitation creates a desire. But as I said, we are able to choose if we accept or not this excitation. So you see the start of how our brain is working. You have seen that we are looking for satisfaction. Satisfaction because we are excitable, and this excitation is we can control this excitation with the choice, and it's created the desire. What are we doing? We exalt, or we want more than that. We exaggerated our desire. When someone is looking for a car, house, some clothes, and so on, at once he wants more than that. He has something, he wants something else. He has something more than what he proposed you something, and you want more than that. So you go inside exaltation, and this is the main error we can make, is not being satisfied by what we have. It's just because we get inside the accidental world, and as soon as we go inside the accidental world, we can exaggerate, and if we exaggerate, this is exaltation, and this exaltation it is making our biggest mistake. This is what I want to show you how to control that. So we have motivation that makes us act. What does it mean? It means that the desire that we have, because when we have desire, as you have seen, we want more than that. So we have not only one, but we have many of them. I'm thirsty and I want to drink, but I can drink not only a pint of beer, but I want to also to drink hot wine, or maybe I want to drink some fruit juice, or I want just to drink some water, fresh water, which is wonderful. Okay, when you're thirsty, this is the best way to but when we have a lot of desire, from hot wine, just water, and so on, we have to choose the one we want. Otherwise, we hesitate. And if we choose, then we have to make a choice, and we have to find only one of them. When we have one of them, then we create a motivation to realize this desire instead of something else. So this is the motivation, it's the choice we have made. I want to marry someone. I don't want to marry all the girls. I want to marry one girl which pleases me more than the other, and this choice is making us gives us a reason to do it. And the motivation is to have a reason to do something, you know. And when you have this reason, then you start acting in the external world. So you see that from excitation we go to desire we go to motivation to action. Okay, this is the process in which we are right now. And what do we get? A real satisfaction. A real satisfaction is when as you see, when you get the reality, and this is two guys, they are pleased to be together instead of this is a real satisfaction, or a false satisfaction, which is a vain pleasure, the vanity, the pleasure of the vanity, the mirthless chuckle, we can say. And as you see, this the difference between the real satisfaction here, where both are happy. Here one is happy and the other one is not. One is happy on the top and this one is not. So the false satisfaction is the vanity pleasure is making us not quite happy. Happy is the harmony we can have between two guys, the harmony we can have and find in the reality. Here is not harmony, it's one of them is unhappy. Okay, so now let's see more into detail how it works, because so far we have been just explaining what's going on, but now I want to enter into the inner world, and into the inner world I will start by two laws. The first is E equal to I and R equal to G. The first one is exaltation is the same as inhibition, not the same, but is equal to inhibition. When you have exaltation, you have inhibition. When you exalt because you want something, you just start exaggerating what you want, and then you are afraid of having it. And when you are afraid, you are blocked and you get nothing at all at the end. And when you don't want to see that you are wrong, what's going to happen? It's going to happen that you find a justification. Justification is justification is when you have repression, you have justification. When you don't want to see what's going on, then you try to find some pretext. You want to find some excuse to explain why you have done something wrong. You have been exaggerating. So you see that these are the two inner laws of our inner world. This the first two laws, we can explain a lot of things which are happening to us. Okay, introspection. What for? What is introspection? We introspect ourselves to control ourselves. Okay, to understand what is happening inside us. Introspection is the way of auto-observation to inside us. Auto-observation is trying to remember what happened to us, not in the bad way, not with the emotion we had, but as a fact. And we try to cover, to eliminate the error we have done. Okay, and if we want to change, then we have to change our motivation. If we don't change our motivation, we can't change, and the change in the external world will be made by a change first inside us. If I stop looking at something I want, if I realize that having a big car is not so important, then I accept to have a normal car. And if I accept to have a normal car, I'm no longer looking at big cars. Okay, and then I can find the true satisfaction, because there is only one thing I'm looking at and know a lot of things. Okay, so it's much more easy and I can do it. Okay, so which kind of introspection we have? Consciousness. Am I doing right or not? I want to be factual, but you know, it's difficult to be objective. To be objective is maybe someone told me something, and or is not able to, maybe by example, doesn't be able to be at a meeting we had together. He's not coming. So I start interpreting, well, he doesn't like me, well, he could have called me, and so on. But you don't know about reality. You don't know what happened to him. You don't know, maybe he has been in in hospital, maybe he has been late because of, we don't know, maybe the train was stopped, maybe, and so on and so on. So we just elaborate a lot of big scenario of what could have happened to him, but this is not reality, because we don't know about reality yet. So we can't be always objective. So consciousness is important because we can remember what happened to us, not to others. And this introspection has to be conscious, and the consciousness introspection has to be about us, not about others. Now we have also a dream in the night. During the night we have the dream, not the dream of wanting to be the best man or the best woman in the world, but the dream during the night. And the dream during the night is made by our extra consciousness. And when it's made by extra consciousness, it means that there is no interference between our consciousness with what we have seen in a symbolic way during our night. And then if we can translate, this is the dream of Sophie, it's a book, okay, for the children, then we can know what has happened inside us and how our decision has been made. And the dream made by a lot of people long time ago with the myth is then during the Greek period, by example, but other periods as well, and gathered together and translated with a lot of gods, a lot of angels, a lot of, it's just the way to express what's going on inside our world, and if we can take all and understand the symbols of this myth, then we can translate all the dreams, because the dreams are taking again and using this image as a symbolic way to do. So we can through this introspection, self-observation, we can understand what's going on inside us, and we can avoid subjectivity. Okay, and we can avoid subjectivity, but we can avoid also subjectivity if we are using method and laws, and we start reasoning, we start thinking about what we have done, and we can correct, I will say, the way we are thinking. If I'm thinking about, I'm taking back this example of someone who has been late to a meeting, then I can start telling me that he's not against me. If I start thinking that he's not against me, then I don't have to find some excuse for him, but I can take into account that something else that I don't know has happened. So once more, instead of accusing him or taking him as someone against me, I can just be patient and be open, just open to anything he can tell me. If we talk together, then I will know, and there is no way to anticipate and to give him some bad ideas when I don't know. So let's be open and wait until I know more about his excuse or explanation. Already saying excuse is being unobjective and starting accusing him. Just be open to his explanation. And what we are going to do is to use science, because when we use science, we are everything is coherent, is consistent, and we can and we can build a real story of what's going on and not interpretation of the reality. So what is science? Science is starting with classifying different external facts, then to check if the explanation we are giving is right or not, and then the third one, which is the most important, is to be able to predict what's going on if we keep doing that. So as you see, we have different possibility to do. Okay, and what I want to tell you is that with science or psychology based on introspection, which is either consciousness or extra consciousness, we can observe what's going on inside our brain and start controlling ourselves. I gave you two laws. Exaltation exaltation is as important as inhibition that we have, and if we have any inhibition, it means that we add some exaltation, and if we have some exaltation, which is not very easy to see, but then we will have inhibition. Okay, and if we have we don't want to see our fault, that means we have repression, then it's because we justify our error. With that, you can solve nearly all the problems. It's very rudimentary, because there is more than 24 laws. I gave you only 2 of them. So just imagine what we can do with 22 laws. We can really understand how it's going on inside us, and this is wonderful. I guess you will be interested in knowing more than just this very simple presentation. I just wanted it to be affordable and close to you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for everything, and I wish you the best. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you soon.